Use your powers for evil,
Your evil is mine.
Hello, and welcome to Next Stop Everyone, your one-stop shop for all things Whovian. It has been a long off-season, but we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and no, it's not a train coming. It is new Who. It is new Doctor Who week. And
Woohoo!
joining me, as always, is Charles.
Hello, everybody.
And frequent co-host, the person who I talk castle with all the time, and her and Charles do that other little show, but mostly she's
The
my castle
Fandom Zone
co-host.
podcast.
Karen.
Hello. I was supposed to be here last week with Charles. but-
Yeah, that kind of fell apart, didn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
mostly because that episode was just so bad we
It
couldn't
was.
get through
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Apologies, because we originally had plans. I think we talked about this that we were going to cover
Yeah.
Underworld.
hmm
Well, I watched Underworld
Yeah,
at the suggestion of Karen, who thought, "Hey, Underworld's a cool name.
right.
Let's watch that
Yes.
one."
Okay, but you were the one who put it in the email.
I
as
know. I take
one of the
I
propositions.
take my share of the blame.
Right.
I just thought it was one we would never cover, so that's why I put
Right.
it in the list.
is it worse than the Dalek movie that I suggested we watch?
Well, it's not bad. It's just desperately dull.
Okay.
Yes. I could not get through it.
It's just
Okay.
it's one of those things. It's like, oh, I really don't want to talk about it. At least with the John or Peter Cushing Doctor Who movies,
Mhm.
they're stupid, and you have things to talk about them.
Yeah,
okay.
this one was just,
Yeah.
there was no topic to
Yes.
talk about.
So we hit the eject button, and we're like,
Okay.
Yeah.
bail.
Yeah, I was like literally falling asleep while I was watching it.
Then she emails me. She goes, "Do you mind if maybe we don't record this? I'll let you." Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, he let me
Oh.
off the hook,
I
and I
let
was
you
like,
off the hook.
"Oh, I'm
Oh.
eternally grateful to you for this." So
I will claim that debt. later.
please do.
Very
I-
nice.
At a future date. I'm sure.
I
I'll
gracefully.
need to cash that in.
No worries.
Well, we've had a pretty good summer talking Doctor Who. Last month, a little behind the scenes, we reached a new threshold on downloads. So that means people seem to be liking what we're doing, which is always lovely. And what, Charles?
No, I have nothing.
Okay. But now then, we are within, like I said, distance of getting the new Doctor Who. So, Charles, did you see the prequel? Karen, did you see the prequel? Huh?
I
Yes.
Did you?
It
Several
wasn't
times.
the prologue.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not the
Prequel, prologue.
Not the prequel. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's 2 minutes. Yeah, it's easy to watch that one over and over and go, ooh.
I've seen it like 5 or
Ooh.
6 times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very excited.
When you're like on the computer watching this thing like 5 times or more, I think it's safe to say you're really looking forward to the next season of Doctor Who.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I thought it was a pretty clever the way that it appears they were almost having two conversations.
Yeah.
You know?
Sorry. Charles and I are being weird. I'm
Yes.
very sorry,
Yes,
Jesse.
That's all right.
We're making fun of you putting your hand in front of your mouth when you talk.
Well, no, not just that, but you were like, we could only see
See-
the top of your head for a minute.
This is what happens. We're like 3-year-old children.
We are the worst, Jesse. I'm sorry.
Ignore us.
That's okay.
See, now you look mad, but Charles and I.
No, I'm
We
not
used
mad
to-
at all.
We threw him off, so I apologize.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
Um,
So I just thought it's interesting the discussion they're having.
Yes.
That that she, it's like they're having two different discussions. What she's saying out loud and what he's saying aloud and what the really meaning was, and I thought that was pretty
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an underlying. First of all, there's an underlying tension
Right.
in
Yes.
the conversation.
Well, these two have a history
Mm-hmm. That is.
from the Night of the Doctor.
Right, and I was going to ask, has she been in any classic Who?
Yeah.
Have you seen her?
This character hasn't, But the Sisterhood of Karn, which she is the like high priestess of. Okay, now I feel like I have cataracts because you're getting all blurry there for a minute. Okay, yeah, the Sisterhood of Karn featured very prominently in this episode called "The Brain of Morbius," which is a
Okay.
very classic Tom Baker episode.
Yeah.
And which is why everybody was all, at least classic Who fans like myself and Karen were probably all
Geeking
excited.
out.
We're
Yeah.
geeking out when the Sisterhood was brought back in The Night of the Doctor.
Right.
And so now
Gans.
now we have the actress Claire Higgins returning as Ohila
Right.
once
Yes.
again.
Sorry about that.
So it's very interesting because
Yeah.
last time we had the Sisterhood of Karn, we had the Eighth Doctor regenerating into John Hurt's War Doctor.
Right.
Yes.
So kind of sets a possibly little ominous tone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did. I did think it was interesting about taking care of the universe, because there is a line right where it says, "Even if you save the universe, it won't care."
Mm-hmm.
I think in one of them. So I thought it was good. I just rewatched. Well, let's talk about what have you two been doing to get ready for the new season?
Watching that thing over
Yeah.
and over again.
Okay.
Pretty much. And of course, in 2 days, I'm going to be going down to my local movie theater to be watching Dark Water and Death in Heaven on the big screen in 3D.
Oh, that's cool.
And then watching the little special, The Doctor's Meditation preview
Mm-hmm.
before that,
Yeah,
Cool.
I have my
which was
ticket too.
referenced in this little 2-minute prologue.
Mhm.
Because the Doctor's like, well, maybe I'll go meditate on a rock somewhere.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
All of a sudden, Scotty has joined the podcast.
And I am speaking with two of my favorite people about the upcoming season right now. That is
Yes.
another thing I'm doing to get ready.
Absolutely. What
What a coincidence. I'm speaking with 2 of my favorite people.
Yes, indeed, and I definitely my two favorite.
What a
this-
coincidence.
Yes.
It's wacky coincidence.
Yes. Any thoughts? Did Hannah Hart grow on you?
Ugh. Yeah,
Nicer?
like a fungus, really.
Okay, you're not a big fan of her.
Not a fan. I think she's trying, because she tries really hard to exaggerate her voice in that kind of wacky radio voice. It wouldn't be bad if she did like every, say, 5 minutes, or like every other break, or at least break it up. But she does it every other sentence,
Mm-hmm.
and it grates horribly.
I listened to her interview with the Nerdist.
Hmm.
So it's obviously that Hardwick is a big fan of hers,
Yeah, she's
it-
on at midnight a lot.
and it
Right.
sounds like he produced this. His company produced it because he talked about it, that he was just so thrilled to have her. I have not checked out her Doctor Who themed Naked in the Kitchen or whatever her podcast, her YouTube channel is. So I need to check that out. So it sounds like she is a fan.
Yes, she is.
I'm sure
but
she's a fan, but I just think that she's kind of not a good fit especially after like Hardwick, who just he's energetic without being like just over the top, and he's more of a natural in front of the camera, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's funny because I'm sure a lot of people have complained about Hardwick.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, being on all the time for The Walking Dead, and he did the Breaking Bad, but I agree. I think he's really good at what he does.
Hmm.
I enjoyed the Dr. Finest, though. I especially liked the lady who played Osgood. I'm drawing a blank on her name, but
Oh yeah. Ingrid Oliver.
yeah, Ingrid. I
Yes.
thought she was pretty funny.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
and
I'm really looking forward to Osgood returning this season.
I
Mhm.
am too. So I'm hoping for
The
good
actress
things.
was thrilled to get a call back too.
Yeah, I really like the actress. She seemed to be very charming
Hmm.
and nice. Have you gone back and watched all of the previous season with Capaldi?
No, I
I've wa-
haven't, but I've picked and choose the
Yeah,
ones.
I've kind of I haven't gone through the entire series, series 8 again, but I have watched some of the episodes.
So I'm planning to do that before next Saturday, is to go through the whole season and rewatch.
Yeah.
I know BBC America they aren't doing as many specials as they've done in the past, but they are showing a lot of Doctor Who. on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, and apparently they're going to be showing some classic Tom Baker stories.
Yes.
Which I'm very excited about. I'm like, classic Who? What a concept! Instead of Star Trek: The Next Generation on BBC America, awesome.
Which is on 100 times a day every day.
Yeah, so it's like,
hey, they paid big money to get that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
it's fine too.
Sure it gives them really nice ratings because there's Star Trek geeks that love Trekkies and Trekkers that love watching it, but we could kind of mix it up a little. Let's watch some British programming on BBC America.
It should have just been a couple of episodes a day of TNG.
Yeah.
But it got a little over the top when it was like 5 or 6 episodes a day.
And it seems like they do a lot of like Saturday marathons of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
It's every day marathon.
Yeah. So
at
least mix it up a little.
Right.
There are other things to watch.
Yes. So let's start with you, Karen. What are some hopes you have for the new season, or any? I guess we'll go to predictions in a minute, but hopes for the new season.
I need to ask Charles something real quick.
Okay.
About the teaser thing. He says an enemy's a friend you just don't really know yet.
Yes.
Where have I heard that before?
I'm not sure about that quote, but there is a quote that he makes. Where he says, "Look after the universe for me. I've put a lot of work into it." Okay. That a lot of people probably don't know this, but back in I think 1999, there was a Doctor Who kind of sketch for Comic Relief that starred Rowan Atkinson as the Doctor, and it was called "The Curse of Fatal Death," and it was written by a certain Stephen Moffat. And during the course of that episode, the Doctor regenerates several times. He gets killed repeatedly and keeps regenerating in different British actors. One of those actors is Hugh Grant. And
so this is one you were telling me about yesterday.
Right, yeah. And Hugh Grant, when his Doctor is killed off, he says, "Look after the universe for me. I've put a lot of work into it." So Moffat kind of nicked from himself for this 2-minute prologue.
So you think it's kind of a wink at himself?
I don't know. Either it's trying to get everybody speculating, ooh, maybe the Doctor's going to regenerate because this was during a regeneration scene back then, and you've got the Sisterhood of Karn in play, or he's just oh, it's a cool line. I'm going to use that again.
He's Aaron Sorkin reusing his lines.
Or Joss Whedon.
Yes.
Well, an enemy's a friend you just don't really know yet. It sounds so familiar to me.
Have you done an internet search or anything?
Yes, I did all sorts of research on it. And I'm the research queen.
You are the research goddess.
I know how to look up things. I know exactly what
you got the skills
to put in to look up things. I used to be a researcher in a former life, like an editor and researcher for government contractors. So I looked it up every way I know how, and I could not find any reference to any phrase even similar to that. So if anyone knows where that quote may have come from, because I know I've heard it before,
right?
Please let me know. Please. It may have been phrased some other way.
Okay. So let me throw a question out, since we're back on the subject of the prologue, because I felt we kind of skipped over that a little bit. The creature that Ohila refers to, and they're kind of discussing, whose servants are out there looking for the Doctor. Who do you think the creature is? Is it the Master? Because I'm kind of getting this Master vibe.
Yeah, that's what people assume, I think.
Yeah, I think.
Or is that too obvious? Is that too obvious?
No, people seem to think it's the Mistress.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the Doctor does refer to him as he, but he's known him as he for so long.
Right.
But yeah, I figured I was, his servants will seek you everywhere.
Well, and he could be saying he because he thinks she's dead.
Right. That's true.
So.
Maybe Ohila doesn't know that the Master is regenerated.
Right.
Which is why she refers to him as he.
Right. Yeah, that's my thought.
So if it's not the Master, who could it be, Charles?
Knowing Moffat, it's probably some brand new character. He's going to retcon all the way back to the Doctor's time on Gallifrey. That it's a secret enemy that we have no idea. And it's just this brand new creation that he's kind of woven into the Doctor's timeline.
Right.
Retroactively. But
right.
Yeah.
And just quickly, Maisie's character.
Maisie Williams from
Right.
Game of Thrones.
Correct.
Yep.
People are throwing out who they think it is, but of course, Moffat has said it's no one that you've already seen in the show. And, people think it's, his daughter or River or, all these other characters. And he's saying it's no one you've ever seen. There are people that are speculating that it's some evildoers from the Time War from Gallifrey.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I know, as Charles says, Moffat lies.
So Moffat lies. Yes.
So it could be any of those people.
Yeah.
But people that were evil during the Time War, he would know them. And when Maisie takes off her helmet, how are you doing, old man? Nice to see you again, man. Whatever. That would make sense to me. That they would know each other, but they're characters that we've never seen before. I mean, he knows all kinds of people that we've never seen before.
Right.
But that line would sound good if it's someone from the Time War, because that would make it immediately familiar to us.
I would love it. I would love it if she turned out to be Romana.
Oh God, I would too.
That would be
that would be awesome.
Because Romana is younger than the Doctor.
Right.
So it would make perfect sense for her to call him old man.
Right. And she can regenerate. So it would have to be someone who could regenerate, obviously.
Yeah. Now, Capaldi has said on several occasions that he would love the Doctor to see Susan once again.
Right.
Yes.
So his granddaughter, Susan. So I would love that as well.
And that's one, I mean, those are all things that have been brought up by fans. But the one that I've seen the least is the Gallifreyan connection, just a random Gallifreyan that he's run across from the Time War. Whether it be someone that he fought with or someone that he fought against in the Time War.
And I kind of am going to feel a little disappointed if it is someone that's a retcon or somebody we don't know. Also disappointed if it's River.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I was like, River could be this incarnation of River that we never saw,
right?
Before she lost her ability to regenerate.
Yeah,
and that would be disappointing for me too. Not only because the actress is so iconic in that role, but because I think her story wrapped up very nicely. And I think,
she is coming back for the Christmas special.
Yeah,
that's fine, but that's a special.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, and the more River, I'm okay if we get a good story, and it'll just be good to see Alex Kingston again.
I just want to see Alex Kingston's River with the 12th Doctor. I would think they would play off brilliantly off one another.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I don't want her back for an arc.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not necessary to have
Christmas special, and then that's it.
Right.
Go away.
Right. And this character, the Maisie Williams character, is back for an arc. It's like a...
Is she? I didn't know that.
Small run.
I thought it was just a couple two-parter or something.
Well, it's an arc.
Well, that's true. A small arc, yeah.
Right. It has a continuation, like a storyline.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would be a storyline for River in that case, and that I don't want that.
Okay.
Personally. So one of the thing is characters that the 10th Doctor refers to as the could have been king and the nightmare child have cropped up as real possibilities, given that with Gallifrey's time lock broken, there's a chance they've escaped to wreak havoc on the universe once again. And that is something I cut and pasted from theories. So I read that. But anyway, I just wanted to share that because there's been lots and lots of speculation on that. So yes, Moffat lies. So it definitely could have been one of the characters that we just talked about. I think those are the four, the Romana,
Susan,
Jenny, River.
Jenny from the Doctor's daughter. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Or the Gallifreyans, from the war.
Right.
But those are the most likely scenarios, I think. And I just wanted to talk about that before we moved on from the...
It's going to be so disappointing if it's somebody we like that. It's just like, oh, I remember you from like a long time ago.
From some weird
and that's it.
line.
And that's it. Yeah. And then not have any real importance at all.
Right. I know. It would be horrible. Especially after they built it up like this.
Right.
Yeah, because I was going to say, he's talked about that how happy he was, that she was doing this and how it was a perfect role for her.
Right.
So, yes, it will be very disappointing if it is.
I mean, they're the ones that started the hype about this, not
Yes.
us. So if they've built up this hype and it's just some throwaway character, I'm going to be really pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Really pissed. So anyway.
And
Better
now,
watch your P's and Q's, Moffat.
yeah. Now, what will be forgiven is if it's, because I just rewatched River's first appearance.
Silence in the Library.
Yeah, BBC America was reshowing it, and I think a lot to do with the acting and the writing. Especially now that the backstory, you see that in her. You fill in the gaps in her performance. So if it's that good of a if Maisie Williams does that good of a performance and it's that good of a story, then I think I'll forgive the fact that it's not anyone we know and it's kind of something that we've gone on to,
Yeah.
It all depends on the impact of the story.
I mean, like if it turns out it's the Doctor's younger sister or something,
Well, if it's an important enough character, sure.
Yeah, that we kind of don't know. I would be okay.
But again,
with it.
that would be a Gallifreyan.
Right. Yes.
From the war-ish time, which would be fine with me. That's an important character.
Right.
Absolutely.
And we've never seen any of the Doctor's children.
Right.
Because all we know is his granddaughter, Susan. Obviously, Susan had a parent who was the Doctor's child.
Right.
Yes.
So either male or female or both, it's Gallifrey.
And so that would be kind of a tie-in to a storyline that we've seen. And that's fine with me. I mean...
Yeah. Absolutely.
That would be tying it back to something that has been hinted at. Yeah. So, and they've said that's going to be a common theme in this season is going back to things that have been referenced and tying them into things. He's going to try and sew this season into lore.
Okay.
So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
I like that very much.
Any other hopes for the new season?
Well, I want to know, and I know I keep going back to the Doctor's prologue, but I want to know what's in that circular disc that the Doctor gave Ohila.
Yeah,
okay.
Too.
Yeah, and he said, who to give this to.
Mm-hmm.
Who? Moffat! Shakes fist. Moffat!
Yeah.
So,
wasn't there someone, I thought I read somewhere that maybe his last will and testament, I read that somewhere. I'm not sure if I buy that. We've kind of gone through the Doctor's
we have better technology. We can put it on a tiny little thing.
What if it's just like a big fob watch, like with the like in the Human Nature or something?
Yeah,
it's himself.
Yes, I know what I don't want to see is I don't want to see the Doctor and Clara fighting and lying to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a I don't know if it was just come down from the BBC suits above or fan criticism or both or what have you, but every interview I've been reading is that they're trying to push the idea that the Doctor and Clara are two people that are off having an adventure.
Right.
This season.
Well, I grabbed a quote from Capaldi. They've suddenly realized that they are the most fortunate people in all of time and space and are hell-bent on adventure. Jenna continues to deliver a beautifully nuanced, complex, and funny performance that marks her out as one of the best companions ever. He also described guest star Maisie Williams as a sharp, talented tornado who shifts in cosmic ways. So that's one of his things that he says is that they're kind of working together. They're, understanding that they're really fortunate not only just to be alive, but to be able to have this chance to explore not only time, but of space and all these things. So it sounds like with the death of this person who was so important in her life last season, she has
Danny.
Danny. She has come to terms with this grief by saying, okay, well then I'm just going to throw myself into this saving the whole universe thing.
and Claire is also we found out that she's pretty much an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially with the Doctor.
Right.
And I think we talked. I think in one of the little clips they did on the Doctor's Finest, he thinks that maybe deep down she knows it wouldn't have worked with her and Danny, and
yeah, because she just wants to be out doing things, and he wasn't one of those types of people.
Right. So we'll see what happens. I am, as always, excited about it. I think that Peter will do even more as a second season. He's had some time to grow.
I think they're trying to make him lighten his doctor up a little bit.
Yes.
Because if you notice, he's got the wilder hair.
I'm digging that hair, dude.
I love the wilder hair. And he's got rocking like the Ray-Ban sunglasses.
Yes.
The guitar.
Yeah.
It looks like he's having a little more fun, even though there's like serious stuff going on.
And I love the. I'm the doctor and I save people.
Yes.
I just think that's a great statement.
Right.
And it really does talk a lot about what we think of the doctor. So that's going to be very cool. I hope that we're not getting a regeneration.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that it would be really, really tough for news not to break that we would get a new doctor. And it would happen.
I don't think Capaldi wants to leave.
I don't think so. I mean, he probably wants to at least get a third season in because most doctors get 3.
He's very excited about being the doctor.
Yeah, this is kind of like one of his little fan things come true.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was a fan. But I'm kind of curious. I think something's going to happen to Clara, though.
Yeah,
because there was no mention. I don't know if you've read the press release about the Christmas special. But there's no mention of Jenna Coleman being in that Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, conspiracy-wise, you go,
Yeah.
And with, I know that with Alex Kingston canceling on Salt Lake Comic-Con because she had to go do filming for the Christmas special. But who's her replacement? Jenna Coleman.
Yeah.
So Jenna's available, but Alex Kingston isn't. Well, that's interesting, too.
And they've also announced that Peter Capaldi gets an episode all to himself near the end of this season.
Good.
All to himself.
Mm-hmm.
So,
interesting.
The evidence is building up that something will go astray for Jenna Coleman's character.
Yeah, and she's done. This will be 2.5 seasons.
She will be the longest-serving new series companion.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She beats Amy Pond now as the Doctors from the 2005 on. Now, longest running, that's up like Sarah Jane Smith.
Yeah.
And Romana, if you count both Romanas.
Right. Well, that's a character. I mean,
So the character, two different actresses, but Sarah Jane's up there. I think Sarah Jane's the longest running companion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would have thought Amy would have had that because how long she was in that, but I guess not. Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So that's usually the companions. The Doctor's tough on companions. Shall we say that?
They don't have the staying power.
Well, they're strays, and they don't. You can always find another one somewhere. So
that's right.
Well, I like to think of it as, he mentors them, he gets them going, and then he moves them on to their life.
Yeah,
that's right.
So
they learn enough to have a better life.
Yes.
And they learn that your life is crazy, Doctor. All these Daleks and Cybermen trying to kill you.
Yes.
Let me out of here. I'm gone. Bye.
That's right.
Yeah. So Charles and I, and possibly Karen at times, we'll be going through each episode. We'll be talking and discussing.
I would love to.
Yes. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the journey.
Unless your listeners don't like me.
So they love you.
They like you better than they like me.
That's not true.
I think it's totally
true. They like me better than both of you.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Right. No, I didn't mean to say that.
You're Mr. Likable. Everybody.
That is most likely true.
It's all my Bruce fans that are listening.
It's true.
Yes. Any other final predictions or anything we want to put on?
Well, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we could run down through the season, what we know of the season.
Okay, go for it.
Obviously, we're starting off with a two-parter, The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar by
Mhm.
Stephen Moffat. We know that the master's involved, the Missy, the mistress. And apparently we know that the doctor's missing.
Mhm.
And Clara somehow works with the master a little bit.
Sacrilege.
Yeah, especially
Okay.
you think there'd be some issues there because of Danny. Like, oh, hey, I turned your, fiance there to a
Cyberman.
Cyberman
Yes.
after I killed him, after he died. Well,
I'm guessing there are going to be issues.
yeah,
I would
I
think
would
that's
hope.
a fair guess.
I would hope, but then,
I'm thinking it's going to be a little sandpapery.
and we know
Yes.
the Daleks are involved
Mhm.
because
Why, Charles?
we've seen Scarrow, and we've seen, apparently this is like classic Scarrow.
Mhm.
So
No. Why are the Daleks there?
why?
Because it's the BBC
Oh yeah, well,
agreement. Okay.
well, yeah. There's the unofficial agreement that yes, the Daleks have to appear every season.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Otherwise, they lose the rights. But
Yes. I just think we should support
worst-
that rumor.
the worst kept secret in Doctor
Yes.
Who lore, apparently.
Well,
All right.
you've seen the little scenes from those episodes, right? That they released.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen the scenes because I'm
Oh.
trying not to spoil myself.
Oh, okay, I won't say anything then.
But yeah, but I mean, we've seen in the trailers, we've seen the classic Daleks with like the modern era Daleks.
Okay.
So with the Dalek Emperor.
Mhm.
But they're on Scarrow. So this is like, apparently the modern Daleks have gone back to their creation, and it looks kind of like that maybe we'll be seeing the creation of the Daleks, sort of like a Genesis of the Daleks Part 2.
So I think in the spirit of openness and since it's a safe place to fall,
Mhm.
I see no difference between the Daleks. I do not. I never understand when you go, look, it's the classic Daleks.
Well, they're different.
It's a Dalek.
It's the design. I mean, because you've got like the classic Daleks, they look more 60s retro in design.
Right.
With the they've got the
Like
blue,
Robbie the robot.
they've got the blue bumps
Mhm.
on the sides, and then the
does
modern Daleks are all like shiny, like kind of a bronze.
If does it make me a Dalek racist if I say that all Daleks look alike to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm.
So much for it being a safe zone.
2-1. So yes, you're a Dalek.
Okay. All right. Go. All right. So episode 3.
Episode 3 and 4, we don't know too much about. They're written by Toby Whithouse, who wrote School Reunion and let's see, the one in the hotel. I'm trying to remember that one. And so yeah, we don't know too much about that one.
Okay.
They haven't revealed the titles yet for those. We don't know. The next,
I don't know if I'm happy that we have back-to-back two-parters.
well, apparently there's going to be a lot of two-parters.
It seems that way. I'm not sure if I'm happy about that.
Well, I kind of like it because that means there are cliffhangers.
Yes.
And cliffhangers on Doctor Who are awesome.
Yes, I suppose.
So, yes.
I sometimes worry that the burden of it being a two-parter,
Mhm.
they really only have enough story for 1.5 episode, and they end up stretching to make it 2. That's my only thought.
Well, maybe it was would have been a 3-part story, but then they condensed it down to 2. How's that?
I'm just throwing it out there, okay?
I'm trying to be optimistic here.
I understand that. I'm just throwing it out there that sometimes it feels that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Next, we have The Girl Who Died by returning writer Jamie Matheson, who wrote Mummy on the Orient Express and Flatline, which were arguably I think the 2 best Doctor Who stories of Series 8, in my opinion.
I think you could make a case for that.
Yeah, so like I said,
when I
arguably,
see them, I'll have to kind of rate them. I don't have our ratings in front of us. But
I do get Doctor Who magazine, as I've talked about, and he won the annual poll as favorite writer of last season and favorite episode for Mummy on the Orient Express. So as far as the Doctor Who magazine fans are concerned, he wrote the best episode of last year.
There you go.
So there.
Okay.
Flatline's amazing.
And I totally agree. But
Yes.
I like Flatline too. Flatline was awesome.
Where you got shrunk down.
Yes.
Big
Itty bitty.
hand.
And then he did the little Addams Family reset.
Yeah.
S thing.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Walking the turns.
Awesome.
But yeah, he's writing that. But then also Stephen Moffat has to get his name on the credits, so he's joining Matheson.
Co-writer.
Yes, co-writer, which probably means, like, as we know from Series 8, he writes like a little 5-minute scene with Missy on the end, and then he gets a little co-credit.
Or he put some red lines in Jamie's script.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then that one's followed by The Woman Who Lived, and since you have The Girl Who Died, The Woman Who Lived, it's going to be connected somehow, I'm guessing. Written by new writer Catherine Tregenna.
Okay.
We finally get some female writers on Doctor Who.
Do we have any background on what Catherine's done?
Torchwood,
Okay, there we go. All
Yes.
right.
if that helps. EastEnders, Casualty,
Do you know which
Yes.
episode of Torchwood, by any chance?
Out of Time, Captain Jack Hartnett.
Oh, those were good.
Adam.
That's very promising. I like
Okay.
those.
Ooh, that is very good news.
Those were the season finale of season 1 of Torchwood, if I remember. Yep. So those
She
are
created the meat props shown in episode Captain Jack Hartnett.
okay. Interesting. And then we
That's a
had
trivia thing that I wrote down.
no, that's cool.
Okay.
You're awesome. Was there any other than the previous episodes that you wanted to talk about?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right.
I'm mentioning things as we
Okay,
go through.
so that works. And then we have Invasion of the Zygons. Zygons 2-parter. Very excited by this. Where it looks like we see the return as well as the Zygons, but we get the return of Unit
Mhm.
and Osgood. But wait, she was dead. How could she still be alive?
Oh no.
Could it be the Zygon Osgood? Or was the Zygon Osgood the one the Master killed, and the real Osgood is alive to keep everybody on Tumblr happy?
Mhm.
I got to tell you, I'm just happy the actress has got the gig again.
Yeah.
I just love the character and I love the actress, so I'm happy either way.
Mm-hmm. And that's the second episode is called Inversion of the Zygons. Not sure what. Okay, but the first part is written by Peter Harness, who wrote the rather dubious Kill the Moon last series.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see how this goes. And he wrote the second part as well, but Moffat gets his little fingers in there again and gets a co-credit.
Now,
Okay.
mind you, he has worked with Kenneth Branagh and Michael Caine,
Mhm.
so he has a bit of cachet behind him. He did work on Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell,
Which
over
was
the
which was
summer?
good. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
right? So he may have beefed himself up a little bit. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Okay.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because that ending of Kill the Moon, yikes.
Yeah, not so good.
Mhm.
Yeah, Kill the Moon did not do well in that poll.
No.
I'll just put it lightly.
Mhm.
And then after that, we have an episode 9. We don't know the titles for 9 through 12, but Mark Gatiss is returning because
Always nice.
gotta have it. It's like just like the Daleks. Gatiss has to appear every season,
Yeah.
apparently. So Gatiss is back for an episode, and then we have new writer Sarah Dollard. So we have 2 female writers in this series,
Crazy
Awesome.
talk.
which is kind of madness for Doctor Who, apparently.
It is. It is.
So they're kind of slowly catching up. So at least they're making progress.
And
Good.
she's from Neighbors, Merlin, Primeval.
I'm following her on Twitter now, and apparently she does a lot of cosplay.
Oh, cool.
So yeah,
Oh.
she does like Agent Carter cosplay, which is, respect for that.
Yeah, she's
Mhm.
into sci-fi, Being Human,
Hmm.
Merlin, The Game.
Yeah, the game was excellent. I love that. So there's kudos there.
Yeah.
And then we have the 2-parter series finale by Stephen Moffat, of course. Who
Yep.
knows what we're gonna get?
Steven and Steven on both of those.
Yep.
So,
And that's our series. And then we have a Christmas special with River Song,
hmm
Yeah, which is exciting for all of us.
right?
Yeah, so very cool.
That's our rundown.
Hmm. It will go quicker than we want it to, won't it?
yeah,
It's really interesting. They're keeping the titles secret this year
yeah,
because
Some of them.
normally they all leak like like months before this season begins.
right.
And now here we are. We still don't know half the series titles.
Right. Now, I do have a little more information if you want to know.
Hmm.
Please.
Not much, but a little more. Let's see. The Doctor is going to make a mistake that has cataclysmic repercussions this season.
Dope.
Duh. Right?
When he screws up big.
big, yeah. There's going to be a found footage style episode.
I hope that doesn't mean a lot of shaky cam, because I hate shaky cam.
It will compile footage shot from the Doctor's followers as they battle a monster. This is according to Mention. The Doctor Who team are considering not even having opening titles and just running the footage. So take it as it comes.
You know,
That sounds like a Dr. Light episode to me.
but I'm
Well,
also
he's gonna be all the shots,
Yeah,
but he may not talk a lot.
maybe.
That you may just overhear.
Unless that's his solo episode.
It's near the end.
Yeah.
It's episode 9. So
That's Gaddis's episode.
well, then it might be good.
It might
Yeah.
be good. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
okay.
It depends on how they do it.
It
They're
might-
going to revisit old details, like I said, and tie them up or explain them this season, like why we saw Peter Capaldi in his earlier cameos.
Yeah. Meaning that
Um,
they're trying to hint that the fires of Pompeii, that for some reason that's the 12th Doctor, or the
Why
12th
did they
Doctor
choose-
bases his appearance on
Right.
that character.
Why did he choose that face?
Hmm.
And linking the garden from Apalapucia. I can't remember how to say that.
How you spell it?
Apalapucia.
Appalucia, I think.
Thank you. That's it. To the real garden from Deep Breath.
Okay.
The one on Appalucia was a mirage,
Hmm.
but it was a recreation from the garden from Deep Breath.
Okay.
And there's
Okay.
a link between the two that's very like it's a very significant link between the two.
Okay.
And it was never made before.
Well, now that you mentioned Deep Breath, if I recall correctly, the Doctor mentioned that he was wondering, like, why this face,
Mm-hmm.
when he was like talking to one of the bums in the alley before he stole his coat,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and he was talking about, why this face?
Why did I choose
Why did you
this
choose
face?
this face? Yeah.
Right. So they're going to tie that up
So yeah.
apparently in this season.
And I trust them. They will, because they didn't ignore the 12 regeneration rule.
Right.
They could have
Mhm.
easily and said, hey, it's
Yeah. It's
Gallifrey. It was a self-imposed guideline or something. So, and they didn't. They actually, now they kind of did a hand wave that magically through the crack.
Well, but they did
got-
explain it,
yeah.
they
which
did.
is a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not an entire hand wave. It's a hand
Yeah.
Yes.
They fixed the hand wave, mid hand wave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Moffat seems to have, as a writer, he seems to have this desire to kind of explain everything and
Yes.
and connect everything.
Right.
Like something he saw, like maybe during the first or second Doctor eras, he's trying to make it like, oh, this refers to this way back then.
Yeah.
right.
And so, yeah, it's just or
Which is
something.
not necessarily a bad thing.
No, but
No.
it's kind of a fanish thing almost, though.
Yeah. Which
but-
is
which is
it can
okay.
be good,
It can be bad, yeah.
but it can also be bad. I mean,
Right.
it depends on how he ties it in. I just thought those are 2 points that they actually brought up
Okay.
in interviews.
Mhm.
So I thought I'd mention those. And he's saying that there's going to be an epic sweep to the season, and the villains and monsters reflect that.
Okay.
So there's going to be some great new ones, some brilliant old ones, and some very scary creatures looming in stories with real emotional ambition. That's straight from Capaldi. So
Nice. Okay.
anyway, that's the stuff I got from my research goddessing.
Very cool.
Capaldi knows how to turn a phrase, doesn't he?
He does. He's very eloquent.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's. I think of all the modern doctors, I think Tennant was pretty happy to be doing it too, but I think there's an argument he's the actor most pleased with this.
I think so too. He's
Yeah.
the most enthusiastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Tennant was pretty enthusiastic too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The only, not I think any of them would be
Yeah.
like Matt was, and
Matt
you know,
was enthusiastic, but he didn't have the fanboy history
Right. Right.
that Tennant and Capaldi have.
Right.
And Eccleston was Eccleston.
Right.
No,
After
after reviewing those earlier episodes during our rewatch,
hmm
a lot more. I'm a bigger fan of that Doctor than I originally was.
Then Eccleston.
Yeah, I really.
I love
liked-
Eccleston's run.
Yeah, I don't have no problem with his run. I have a
I just
problem
think
with.
he was not enthusiastic
I think-
about
I
playing
think
the Doctor.
I think him personally, yeah. As I just see him as like an actor who's like it was a role to him,
Yeah.
and I'm only interested in doing this role for one season. That's it. I'm done. Bye bye.
Well, I
And
don't think we'll know for sure. It does feel
no,
like
we probably won't.
it was a really bad experience with him. Something did not go well.
Right.
He did not find it a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, it's hard to say, but
yes,
yeah.
I know. Okay, well, great. Hey
that's
guys,
stuff.
last weekend when you weren't recording,
You see how that little dig? You see how he did that?
I know.
I was in
I'm on to you, Jackson.
Atlanta. I was in Atlanta attending Dragon Con,
Mm-hmm.
and someone requested a
Double deuce.
summary of my adventures.
Yes.
There were two major highlights. There were a lot of great things. I always love spending time with Tom Zoller,
Mm-hmm.
and I sold a lot of the Doctor Who prints he has. That
Tell him he
is
needs to
that-
make some Next Stop Everywhere T-shirts because
Yes.
with his logo on it.
absolutely.
We want T-shirts.
Yes, and so a fair amount of there's a lot of Doctor cosplay, and we decided that Atlanta, Georgia, in Labor Day weekend, a bad time to cosplay Tom Baker as the Doctor with the big coat.
Scarf.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's a little sweltering.
Though it was milder than it's been.
Yeah.
I met Candace Patton, who
Iris
plays Iris West.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
And Tom had done a sketch of her. Danielle Panabaker, who is Catelyn Snow, but he did her Layla on the Sky High, and she was
Yeah.
very thrilled that I
her.
did that. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Marin Dungy, who was Ursula once upon a time, but
Mm.
I spent
And she was also Sydney Bristow's best friend roommate on Alias.
what I
Dungy.
spent all my time with was talking to her. She is Dr. Hamburg on Chasing Life.
Mhm.
And I just love that show, and so she was thrilled that I brought that up, and we spent about 5 or 10 minutes talking about that. So that was pretty cool. Kristen Narn, who's Hodor,
Yeah.
was very
Hodor.
funny.
Christian. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
Did you just stand there and say Hodor the whole time
No,
you were talking to him?
He must get so much crap from fans.
I know.
I feel bad for him.
I do too.
He was incredibly charming. He is huge.
I'm sure.
He's so tall, and he has a
Is
pretty
it-
thick brogue.
Is he like 7 foot or 6.5 or
Yeah.
what?
I'm a short guy, so it was really fun to see him. And he,
Hi, Hodor.
yeah, exactly.
Looking
he
up
was-
at him.
It just seemed like
Hi
he was having.
Hodor. Hi Hodor.
He had
Oh,
a
It's
you were
upward-
sweet Hodor.
yeah, very much having a blast.
I
Seeing
just made myself laugh. That's horrible.
You made me laugh too. So
Okay, good.
it's not just you.
Yeah. Then I had the let's see. Robbie Armel was very nice, and
Firestorm.
Tom had done a firestorm, and there is on the sketch he did for me. They show Professor Stein
Mhm.
in the background,
Right.
and so if I ever run into Sydney's father,
Victor Garber.
Victor Garbo, I have a sketch ready for him to
Yep.
sign.
Awesome.
Yes.
You have to ask him about Godspell though. That will impress him.
Yes.
First
So
watch it and then ask him about it.
So I did have a very fun moment when I'm a big fan of Fool Us, the Penn and Teller show.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And and Tom knows a lot of people. So a guy was coming up to talk to Tom. He was in street clothes. He had a Captain America baseball cap on, and they're talking. And I'm kind of, not trying to be, rude. I'm kind of letting him just kind of sit there and wait for him. And I hear him mention, well, after Fool Us. I went, Fool Us? He goes, yeah, I was on Fool Us. You're kidding, really? What episode? So I was on the first episode. I said, really? What act? He goes, I was the little plunger. You were the plunger guy? And I became Karen, Charles,
Fanboy.
I was fanboy to the max.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was like, oh, I love that. Yeah, it was such a good act, and they seem to enjoy it, and I'm just going on, and he,
All these people, and this is the guy he gets worked up about.
Yeah.
and he
Well,
was,
Tom, so
That's
yeah, and so Tom was after. It's like, I bet John really got a kick out of that, because how many people fanboy over a magician?
yeah, that's nice.
And so
Well, I have to say, if I ever met Neil Patrick Harris, I would fanboy over him, and he's a magician. So
yeah, that's true. Good point.
mhm.
yeah, I would
So
definitely.
that was a really cool moment.
So did you learn any Doctor Who info?
No, I didn't, but
Shucks.
I have a Doctor Who story, and then I'll tell my final story.
Okay.
So I'm in the line, and I'm kind of wandering through. And if you've ever been to Dragon Con or most big cons, you have this huge room, and it really does look like cattle calls. There's just tables everywhere, and they have their sign, and depending on
The autograph area.
how busy they are, you could have lines, you
Mhm.
could just have people sitting there doing nothing.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I'm standing in line to get Danielle Panabaker's signature, and she had not come
Nice.
back from a break yet.
hmm
And I look over, and Julian Glover has the table 2 places down.
So mad at
You
you.
posted this picture, right? On
Yeah.
So mad at
yeah,
you.
this is so.
And I'm like,
That's awesome.
wait a minute.
Julian Glover.
Wait a minute.
I
And
know that name.
And I'm going, because Karen is the one who told us that he was Grand Meister
You're lucky I wasn't there because I would have slapped you upside the head going,
I know.
come on, man.
Marcel. So I'm like, okay, before I
That's
embarrass
Scaroth
myself,
of Daggeroth.
so I pull up my phone to double check.
Yeah.
I pull up the IMDb app,
hmm
and of course I'm right. And so I put my backpack, and I'm number 2 in line for Danielle, and I tell the guy in front of me, I says, would you mind holding my place? And I go behind people. I promise I'll just be a moment. Yeah, sure. So I walk over there. He had just finished signing something. And I did say, I pulled out the Next Stop Everywhere card, and I go, hi, Mr. Glover. I do a Doctor Who podcast. And my friend Charles and Karen and Ken and I all just talked about City of Death. Oh, how wonderful. I said, and I got to tell you, you were the best villain. Oh, thank you very much. I said, we all talked about how smooth you were and how sophisticated. He goes, that was a lot of fun to play. And so I am just going on and on about, and a lot of old episodes don't hold up, but we all talked about how well this one held up. And he goes, I think it held up pretty well too. I think it's a pretty good story. I'm proud of it. I said, well, I just wanted to tell you you're amazing. And, and gosh, when you look at your career, he goes, yeah, I've done okay. It's really very
I
humble.
hope you at least asked him about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I did. I said, and I had no idea you were
Pycelle.
in Game of Thrones. Yeah, Purcell. And he's like, oh yeah. He says, I am. And then, he's got the whole, he was in Star Wars and everything.
hmm
So I said, well, can I have a photo? And he goes, absolutely. And so I was just thinking of this, and I could not wait. Once I had the photo and I thanked him, I'm texting Charles and posting this going, hey, look, Charles.
That's awesome.
So that was very, very fun.
And you needed to say, and there is this research goddess I know who told me all these wonderful facts about you, and I didn't know them all until she said them. That's what you need to say.
Boom.
He did say that he thought it was a pretty clever idea, and that the whole, fractured in time and all the, the Leonardo,
Mhm.
Da Vinci and, stuff. So he was good.
Excellent.
So that was pretty much, once I met the Foolus magician, John Armstrong, and I met the Count, I'm like, nothing can get better. So
Nice guy.
yes, very nice guy.
Awesome.
So on Sunday, I'm wandering around trying to find Melinda Snodgrass from Star Trek Next Generation fame.
Just
Did get to
before
meet her.
you before
Yes.
you go on,
Yes.
he looked great in that picture, by the way.
Yes.
Yes.
He has aged so well.
Yes.
Mhm.
It really did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
agree.
wanted to put that in. I
I
just
think
remembered.
Game of Thrones is keeping him young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Those dragons are breathing on him.
Yes.
I thought it was all those prostitutes
Yes.
Picel was with.
Yes.
Could be.
So I got to tell Melinda that how much I loved her, and when she wrote an episode of Next Generation, you knew it was going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some
The
of her
Measure of
old,
the Man. The Measure of
Yeah.
the Man.
Measure of Man, yeah.
in the books that she had written, and she talked about how much she loved Game of Thrones. She loved Next Generation, and then I talked about Wild Cards, how much I loved that when the first came out, and she talked about the new series, and how she told the story about that George R.R. Martin was staying up all night doing role playing.
Mhm.
And that's, and he had gotten no sleep, and he said, there's got to be a way to make money off this. And that's how they came up with the wild card shared story. So that was good. So I'm wandering around, and I see that the line for Stephen Amell is just starting to form.
Run, Jesse,
That's-
run!
That's the best.
So I went and got in line, and I was about 8th in line. And they said, well, he's not going to be here till 3 o'clock. And it's like 2:10. And I'm like, okay, fine.
That's all right.
50 minutes is easy.
Yeah, 50 minutes, no big deal. So then
Yeah, if you wait any longer, you're going to be way in the back of the line. So,
Mhm.
they found out that there were all these people that had gotten a red card. And so they had got to be in front of us because they had to stop. So I ended up being 80th or so. So not bad at all. And we're in line, and I will tell you, a lady named Kathy was the best line monitor that I've seen. She had the right mix between, look, we got to keep the line moving,
Mhm.
but at the same time, not drunk with power. And we have all been at conventions where the volunteers, God love them, a little too drunk with power.
mhm.
Were you dreading the "Don't cut me off, don't cut me off" as last in line? Don't cut me off.
So they said, here's the deal. He has to leave at 5.
Mhm.
He has a flight to catch. He's going home. He misses his son.
Mhm.
He can do 200 signatures in an hour. So here's what I need you to do. I don't want to have to cut off this line. I've never cut off a line at Dragon Con. I don't want to start. I need all of you, if you're having a photo, have it out of the sleeve. If you're having him sign something, a action figure, have it out of the box. Have it ready to go. He has time only to signatures, no photos. No time to call your grandmother and tell her that,
I'm talking to Stephen Amell. Ah.
yeah. I mean, this is the only way we can do this is if we move. And so all of us around, and he shows up about 3:20, and he's in his typical baseball cap backwards, and
Yeah.
he's the rugged good looks, and
Just grab him by the cap, turn around, and go, "Look, you're
He's-
grown up to wear your
he's
cap
just-
frontwards."
he's just cooler than cool.
Mhm.
And he waves at everybody, and he sits down, and they start rolling, and they're moving. And so, and the line's moving pretty quick, and I'm like, okay, no, it's not even close. And in fact, I was there within 34 minutes. I did a typical, nerd thing, right? I hit the stop, the timer on my phone just to see, okay, let's see how quickly this moves. So the guy, 2 people ahead of me, said, my wife just had a baby. Do you have any advice? And I'm like, okay, no one told Stephen Amell that we're in a rush, because he said, okay, what do you do for a living? And he tells him,
Oh,
he goes, okay, what do you work? He says, okay, first off, 8 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning, it's your shift. She should do nothing with the baby. I'm just telling you that will get you so many brownie points, and it will get you everything. Just you take
it'll get you all kinds of things.
Yes. He says, and the last advice, breast milk fixes everything. He says, I'm telling you, the baby's got a rash, put breast milk on it. I'm just telling you, anything. So
Squirt.
yeah, the guy in front of me just has a signature, and it's really nice. And so I give my sketchbook with Tom's picture to the lady, and she goes, oh, this is nice. So she hands it to Steven, and he looks at it, and he looks around.
Now describe the picture.
Okay, so the picture is a shirtless Oliver,
Mm-hmm.
and he is taking the Green Arrow uniform off the mannequin.
Mhm.
In the off camera,
The stupid mannequin that they always put the costume back on after every battle.
yes,
Yeah.
there is the someone, and Tom Zoller later said that yes, he pictured it was Felicity saying this, is the city is burning, Oliver. You need to hurry. And he says, well, if we didn't put it on this stupid, if we used a hanger, it would be a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Stephen Amell.
yes, he looks around as if he's going to get in trouble. And they made a big deal. No pictures, no pictures, no pictures. And he takes out his phone like, I'm going to get in trouble, and takes a photo of the sketch.
Which is awesome. And
then he says,
keep
this
going.
is great. And I take my Next Stop Everywhere card and I go, well, if you want to email me, my friend Tom Zoller, who drew it, will be glad to draw one for you. He takes the card, he slides it over to the person who's working and says, keep this. We need to email this guy.
Which is awesome.
He has not emailed me yet. So then he, Jesse, well done, Stephen Amell. I said, I just got to tell you, while he's driving, talking, I said, I just got to tell you.
I hope he wasn't driving.
Yeah, I love that Constantine is joining the show for that episode or two. And it just seems like you care about the universe and you care about making the universe good for fans. And he says, I do, and I appreciate you saying that. I think it's going to be great. Thank you a lot. He shook my hand and says, great meeting you. So I move on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
Now, that's not the end of the story, is it?
I tweet the picture, don't tell anyone, but at, Hollywood Amell or whatever his Twitter thing is, may have taken a picture of this sketch. And so then I go get Tom, we finish up the day, and we walk to a little diner that's about 3 or 4 blocks away from Dragon Con. We had breakfast there, and every place was packed at the main thing, and we'd had a pretty good food, so we walked there. So we sit down in the booth, and I pull up my phone, and there's Cats Out of the Bag. Oh my God. And I looked, and I said, Tom, Steven, it looks like from the plane, tweeted your sketch. You're kidding me.
Score.
At last check, it was like
a retweet.
At 3,000 retweets, like over 5,000 favorites.
Now, how many followers did you get off of that retweet?
I don't know if I did. Not that many. I hope. But what was good is, someone asked, was that Felicity off camera? Mm-hmm. He says yes, and then they said, were they doing something naughty? Is that why his shirt's off? And it was so. Here's hoping that Mr. Amell does reach out to me so Tom can do a sketch for him. I said, I'm sorry I gave away a free sketch. He goes, it's okay. And he says, let's put this on the record. Any celebrity that I sign a sketch for, they want a copy, I'll
free
get them.
Pass.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah. Especially when they retweet it to
yes.
There are millions of followers.
Yes. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and it was, Tom felt great, and I did too. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So that was the Adventures of Dragon Con. Did not get any scoop from the doctor, but I was amazed at the amount of cosplay. That we continue to see.
Now she's gonna be flipping me the bird once I come back from Salt Lake Comic Con.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Don't give it away to the people listening that I'm flipping him the bird. That's not fair.
Yeah,
well, it's audio. They gotta know.
Oh, they don't gotta know.
You do it out of love.
Yeah, Karen really quick has written on a legal pad, "I hate you, Jesse." And
no, I have not done that at all.
Burn in hell, Jackson.
I have not done that.
Not yet.
So that's it. We are hoping for exciting tales from Utah. That's kind of cool to go.
Yeah,
There's a lot of fun going to convention in your house, in your hometown. But there is something beautiful.
We got a nice little butt, upside down butt. What's up with that?
Oh, Karen, just give me a heart.
Nice heart.
I give you both a heart.
Beautiful about going out of town and just immersing yourself in the convention. So good. Good. Anything else we need to cover?
Karen, anything? Nope, you're good.
Nope, not that I know. I mean, I haven't talked enough
No, you've been wonderful.
I
You're
overtalk on these things.
You're always wonderful.
I know. How about you, Charles? Any last?
I do want to mention, though, for any of you Torchwood fans, Big Finish Audio has brought back Torchwood. For those of you who haven't been paying attention, in audio adventure form, John Barrowman. You've got the people that played Ianto, Gwen Reese.
Okay.
So they're back, and the first episode of the first series of Torchwood Audio Adventures, The Conspiracy, is out right now.
Okay.
And available to download on BigFinish.com. If you're a Torchwood fan, need your Captain Jack fix, this would be a good place to do it.
Well, speaking of Captain Jack and the wonderfully charming John Barrowman, I missed this, but the Dragon Con is 5 or 6 hotels all over Atlanta, and Marriott is one of the big rooms, and I was taking the escalator up to go to the 3rd floor, and I started hearing applause and cheers, and you can't see anything because it's a pile of people, and so when I get there, I'm walking, and a guy said, "John Barrowman just walked by in a TARDIS dress."
Yes.
And so
if you've seen this picture on Twitter or the internets, check it out. It's hilarious.
Yes, and it is available. He walked into the panel in a TARDIS dress.
And he gave it a twirl.
Oh, I mean,
everybody went nuts.
He embraced his inner showgirl.
Yeah, and then he grabbed the microphone and it's like up on the desk or something, and then
he is
like he's singing a Torch song.
Yeah, he is one of the people that loves his celebrity and does it great things. And I actually personally think, not to get too serious, I think he does a very important service for people. I think he is certainly not a hero, but an idol that someone can look at, an icon,
a role model.
Yeah, a role model. Thank you. Better choice of words. Yes.
Great.
All right. So Karen, thank you so much for hanging with us.
She's still writing.
Thank you, Charles. We will be back next week, and we will have new Who to talk about. Yay!
We've got KJL plus JJ plus CS.
Aww.
It's a heart with arrow through it.
Yes.
Aww.
Thank you. So for now, we're going to say keep hope alive, and no one knows how they're going to be remembered. All we can do is hope for the best. Thanks, guys. We will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.